Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for clicking about. It means that you guys keep clicking. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making. And today we're recapping the episode from yesterday. A pretty solid episode. Obviously, every episode can't be like the Kagiyan merge, but it's a very solid character building episode that had conflict, and you really can't ask for much more. If you guys haven't already, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff because it's free, it's easy, and it really helps channel out. Okay, so the episode opens up on the Coco tribe coming back from tribal after blindsiding Lindsay. Now, it turns out every single person knew that it was Lindsay, but the main alliance of James, Carla, and Cassidy were the ones who chose. And then they told Ryan and Gio, of which Ryan votes with them, and Gio just throws a vote on Cassidy in case Cassidy, Carla, and James are lying to Gio and James, and there's some sort of crazy idol play going on. And so in the end, there was one vote for Cassidy that came from Gio, and every other person aside from Lindsay herself voted for Lindsay. So Cassidy comes back and confronts Gio about voting for her. He tries to make excuses, but these excuses are not very effective, and she basically marks him as her enemy. He needs to go next, and he does the same thing. They both think that they have James on their side, but it's very clear that James is on Cassidy and Carla's side, leaving Gio in kind of a dumbass spot where they really give him a stupid edit like, how do you think you're on top? But I'm sure in the game they did a really good job of tricking Gio, and by they I mean Carla and James. And so really to wrap it up, it's James and Carla and Cassidy versus Gio and Ryan. And Gio and Ryan think that they have James, but they are sadly mistaken. In the next scene, we go over to the Yellow Baca tribe, where both Ellie and Janine are looking for an advantage in the woods, and they find something, or more specifically, Janine finds the advantage. She immediately goes over to Ellie, which again, kind of silly. She could have just hit it, but she goes over to Ellie and shows to her she has the bead advantage, which this is now the final bead advantage left in the game that hasn't been solved yet. And so she gets it. And she realizes that it's a beware advantage, and she decides to open it because Ellie thinks that Sammy is on her side, and if they need to pull an Owen, a person who they really don't want to work with, they can as a number. So they go to open it, and they read it and figure out what they have to do. And as they're kind of finishing up, Owen comes around the corner and kind of catches them in the act. They try and hide it, but Owen sees part of it and says, "What is that?" They're hesitant at first, or I really should say Ellie is hesitant. She's like, "It's nothing," but then when he pushes one more time, they're like, "Okay, this is what it is." Very, very sus, and he should have noticed that they were trying to hide it from him. But of course, he follows up with saying, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll give you my bead, for the advantage. I really want to work with you guys." Very, very stupid stuff. Like, why are you helping someone who is just trying to hide the advantage from you by giving them basically an idol, or at least part of an idol? Very, very silly gameplay by Owen. They then go to the camp, and before they get to the camp, Ellie tells who she thinks she can trust in Sammy about the fact that Janine found this advantage and what the rules are of it and how they can get the idol. Sammy says, "Oh, okay, great." But in his confessional, he says, "Oh no, like I've been trying to double cross the girls and vote out Janine. So this is a huge setback and makes it a much harder job to do." He then gets to camp with Gabler, and before he can tell Gabler about the advantage, Janine does her thing at camp, gets all of their beads, the last one being Gabler's, and then Sammy brings Gabler down to the beach and tells him what he just did, and Gabler's like, "Wow, like she got me." But they say that they're still going to try and go after Janine and Ellie, and that this just makes things more complicated. At the challenge, we see the red tribe win again, as well as the blue tribe losing again and coming in last place. It's kind of funny because at the end, it's like you basically have to roll balls up this ramp, but they can't go off the back of the ramp. They have to stay steady on the top of the ramp. Ryan has 2 balls on, and he needs to get one more, and he's going against Sammy. And it's funny because he's going against Sammy. Sammy is having trouble with it. Ryan has 2 on there, and then Ryan rolls one up and knocks every single ball off. He tells us in confessional that this was on purpose and that he threw the challenge because he wants to get Cassidy out, someone who he thinks the entire tribe is on, his side to get out. He thinks that it's him, Gio, James, and even Carla on their side, and that it's just a 4-1 vote to get Cassidy out before the merge. This would be smart if that was the case, but it obviously isn't, and Ryan and Gio are now in big trouble from their own doing, or at least from Ryan's own doing. At the challenge, they pick 3 people to go to that Shipwheel Island and risk for an advantage. They pick Janine. They also pick Jesse, as well as from the blue tribe, Gio. So it's those 3. Gio wants to risk it, and he's playing up like he's not safe on his tribe, which it's funny because in reality he isn't safe, but in his head he's lying because he thinks that he is safe. So he's bluffing that he's not safe at all and that he needs to have this advantage, and so he's going to risk his vote. The others don't buy it, and they also risk their vote, and it's a 1 in 3 shot. 2 people will lose their vote for this next tribal, and 1 person will win the advantage. Now, it's funny because Gio wins the advantage, which is the knowledge is power advantage in the game. And then on top of that, Jesse and Janine lose their votes, whether that's for post-merge or pre-merge, the next tribal that they go to. And so now we get back to this Coco tribe, where Ryan has this masterful plan to tell Cassidy that he should go home because he messed up the challenge. He's playing up this honorable role, telling Cassidy that he just has no idea. He just hasn't had any strategy talk with anyone, that he's lost, and he thinks that it's him, and she sees right through it because he tells Carla and James about this plan, and then they go tell their real ally in Cassidy about what Ryan's trying to do. He's basically trying to make Cassidy feel comfortable by saying that he thinks it's him, when in reality he thinks that he has Gio, Carla, and on top of that James all together to vote out Cassidy. And so he's very happy, trying to sell that he's outcasted from the tribe after his mistake at the challenge. And so it's very funny to watch. Obviously, Ryan and Gio are screwed. Gio gets back and finds his advantage, which is actually the knowledge is power advantage. So he has a power, but it's not very useful in this tribe just because he has no idea that Carla has that idol. He thinks that it's just like no advantages except for his own, or at least he doesn't know who has it. So it's kind of useless. He goes into tribal basically just thinking that it's his alliance of him, Ryan, Gio, and Carla voting for Cassidy. But there's a little twist. Cassidy gets paranoid about Gio going to this island or possibly having an advantage and trying to play an idol on himself, saving himself and then voting out Cassidy in the process. So she wants to switch the votes to Ryan, who is more of a guaranteed boot here. But both James and Carla are saying, stop being so paranoid. It's okay. It's okay. And they actually consider blindsiding Cassidy just like how they did Lindsay. And so it's very funny to watch them almost do what they did to Lindsay. But at Tribal, they just go with the Gio. It's a huge blindside. Gio is absolutely shocked, and it's pretty fun to watch. But what did you think of this episode? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, none of this happens without you guys. I'm just a weird guy speaking to a weird microphone, and that's what I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.